Welcome back. Sorry for the interruption. I got a call. Okay, so we are speaking about this executor, which will be immediately called as soon as this promise object is created. And this executive function itself takes two functions as its parameters: resolve and reject. And within your business logic, if you call resolve, the promise will be resolved. If you call reject, then the promise will be rejected. So it's up to the executor to call only one of these things. And as soon as one of these functions is called, then the callback associated will be called, and the execution will continue, and the work of the executor will be done. So that's what the executor does. Okay. So now in our executor function, let's simulate the coin toss. So we'll just say math.random as our result, and if the result is greater than 0.5, we'll resolve and then give the and say heads, else we'll say reject, tails. Okay, and this result will be available to the callback you pass to the then property of the promise, of this promise. Okay, so let's see how to do that. So as usual, we'll use this function in our run function, use the toss coin function in our run function. So we can say toss coin and then console.log result. So this callback will be called if the result is heads, else we have to catch the promise, since if the result is tails, the promise will be rejected. So we have to do result console.log. We just have to do the same thing. Okay, and then window.run equal to run. Okay, let me ensure that in index.js I have this. Okay, cool. Okay, let's run this. You can see that we got tails, heads, tails. So you can look at this code for a while and understand how it works. I'll share it with you, and you can make some modifications on this. So we initially we said that a promise represents the eventual result of an asynchronous operation, right? But here this was not necessarily an asynchronous operation. We could have performed all the operation here, since all we needed to do was a math.random. We didn't have to make any Ajax requests. We didn't have any timeouts. We didn't do any animations, which are all asynchronous operations. Whereas math.random is a synchronous operation. So this line is not executed until this line is completed. But sometimes we do need to perform asynchronous operations, and this coin tossing is a classic example of an async operation, because there is some time between the time where the coin is tossed and the time at which you get the result. So we put a set timeout here. I'll use the new syntax because I'm fashionable, apparently. And let's put a 1 second timeout. So now this executor will resolve or reject the promise only after 1000 seconds. So now this executor, this resolve and reject has now been converted into an async result. Okay. But this part of the code does not change. Okay, now if you do run, we get heads after 1 second, and then heads again, and then tails. But now you can notice the delay, unlike previously where the result was almost instantaneous. Okay, so that's about creating your own promise and providing a promise-based API. And finally, in the next video, we will look at a more practical example and a fun example to end this series on promises.